Greetings, everyone. Once again, it's Mandaté sharing the authentic truth brought to us by Seule 100, the only teacher. So today the teaching I will share in English is going to be Jehovah, that demon that people worship. We're going to prove here that Jehovah is not God, it's a creature, it's a diabolical being. And for that we shall go in the translation of the Jehovah Witnesses, which is the New World Translation. When we go in Genesis chapter 22 verse 14, it says, "And Abraham named that place Jehovah Jireh. This is why it is still said today, in the mountain of Jehovah it will be provided." And that's regarding after Abraham went to sacrifice his son, because he was put to the test by whom? By Jehovah. And later on they say that the so-called mountain on where it happened was named after the so-called Jehovah. And when we go in Genesis chapter 22 verse 1 and 2, it says, "Now after this the true God put Abraham to the test, comma." So they tried to say, to claim that it was the true God, and many people will think that that true God is Jehovah. So they try to pass that Jehovah for the true God. Now after this, the true God put Abraham to the test, comma, and said to him, "Abraham," to which he replied, "Here I am." So here you're told that the so-called Jehovah told Abraham, so spoke to him. Then he said, "Take, please, your son, your only son, to whom you so love, Isaac, and travel to the land of Moriah and offer him up there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains that I will designate to you." So that Jehovah put Abraham to the test to see if Abraham truly loves him. But when we go in James chapter 1 verse 13, it says, "When under trial, comma, let no one say, I am being tried by God, period. For with evil things God cannot be tried, nor does he himself try anyone." So here you're told in James 1:13 that God doesn't try people. What does try mean? In other version it will say test or tempt. So God doesn't tempt, God doesn't test. But the so-called Jehovah put Abraham to the test. He tempted Abraham because he didn't know if Abraham truly loves him. So that Jehovah is limited and test people. But God doesn't tempt, doesn't test. So Jehovah is not God, cannot be God. So behind that is a creature, is a demon. Also, in the so-called Jehovah Witnesses message, in the teaching they try to spread, they claim that the soul is the body. So for them, the soul is the same thing as the body. But when we go in their own Bible, in New World Translation 1984 edition, it says in Leviticus chapter 17 verse 11, "For the soul of the flesh is in the blood, comma." So it says, for the soul of the flesh is in the blood. The soul is inside the blood. That's what their Bible claims. So that means there's a clear distinction between the soul and the flesh. But when we go in Isaiah chapter 1 verse 14, their own Bible will say that their so-called Jehovah also has a soul. Isaiah 1:14, it says, "Your new moons and your festal seasons my soul has hated," period. So here you're told that Jehovah has a soul, and his soul hates the new moons and the festal seasons. So their new moons and their festal seasons. So if in the Jehovah Witness delusion, they think that the soul is the body, but their Jehovah has a soul. So their Jehovah has a body. So their Jehovah cannot be God. Because in Numbers 23 verse 19, you're told, "God is not a man that he should tell lies, neither the son of mankind that he should feel regrets," period. So God is not a man. That means he doesn't have a body. He does not have flesh. He doesn't have a soul. So who is that Jehovah that has a soul? Who is he? In John chapter 4, verse 24, you're told, God is a spirit, comma. So if God is a spirit, he doesn't have soul, he doesn't have flesh. But as you can see, that Jehovah has a soul according to New World Translation in Isaiah 1:14. Now, in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 23, you're told, may the very God of peace sanctify you completely, period, and sound in every respect. May the spirit and soul and body of you, brothers, be preserved in a blameless manner at the presence of our Lord the Christ. So, you are told in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 23, in the same Bible, in the Jehovah Witness Bible translation, that may the spirit and soul and body. You see, so when it says and, so that's in addition. So there is another. So it's a plus. So there's a clear distinction between the soul, the body, and the spirit. So the body is not the soul itself. There's three beings: the soul, the body, and the spirit. So the Jehovah Witness, their own Bible, contradict the teaching they're trying to spread. Matthew chapter 10, verse 28, it says, and do not become fearful of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul, semicolon, but rather be in fear of him. So you're told here, be fearful of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. So if the body was the soul, like the Jehovah Witness claim, that means if you kill the body, if you can kill the body, that means you also have the ability to kill the soul, because you're killing it at the same time. They are one. But Matthew 10:28 contradicts that. It says, be fearful of those who can kill the body, but cannot kill the soul, because it's there's a distinction. It's not the same thing. Now, the body is not the soul, and that so-called Jehovah has a soul, according to them. Isaiah chapter 6, verse 1, you're told, in the year that King Uzziah died, I, however, who is the I that is speaking here? It's Isaiah. I, however, got to see Jehovah, So you're told here that Isaiah got to see Jehovah sitting on the throne, and that Jehovah was sitting. You see here, I am sitting. So that means the chair can contain me, can support me. So that Jehovah can be contained, can be supported. He is somewhere, he's sitting. He's in a place. He's contained. But we know that the Creator cannot be contained. So Jehovah is a creature. And you're told he's sitting on a throne, lofty and lifted up, and his skirts were filling the temple, period. So that Jehovah was wearing something. He was wearing skirts. So he was wearing like a robe. He was wearing something. So something covered him. Who is Taylor? You see, so he was contained, he was covered, and Isaiah saw him. But when we go in John chapter 1, verse 18, you're told, no man has seen God at any time, semicolon. So no one has seen God at any time. So that means even in the past. And Isaiah is a man. Isaiah is a man, and he saw Jehovah sitting. So Jehovah is not God. It's a demon. It's a false god that the Jehovah Witnesses are worshiping. So behind Jehovah, it's a demon, it's a lie, and it is the false doctrine. Their religion, their doctrine is false, is wrong, is erroneous. That was the message, that was the teaching. There's only one creator, Lopa, one teaching, one teacher from one teacher, Zița 100. So all glory be to Lopa, the only and unique creator.